So today we're going to talk about brain fog or fatigue and difficulty sleeping and how those are connected. One study showed that women in their 40s and 50s, when you're going through perimenopause and menopause, up to 60% of women can experience at some time or another issues with brain fog. So let's talk about how that's connected to your sleep. So a lot in their 40s and 50s as well, due to perimenopause and menopausal symptoms. So what are some of the reasons that you may be experiencing difficulty with sleep? Well, first and foremost, stress is at the top of the list for everything. Stress is the cause of so many health issues and also contributes to hormone imbalances as well. Now, we could certainly talk about some of the sleep hygienes and things like that, but first let's just talk about what could be going on with your hormones that can be causing you to have poor sleep. And when you have poor sleep, you're more apt to have a brain fog and fatigue because you're not getting well rested. Your body's repairing and rejuvenating during the night when you're sleeping. And so these things kind of go hand in hand. So one of the things that can be going on, so let's talk about hormones, is high or low cortisol level. So if your cortisol level's too high at night, that can make you feel more awake when you should be going to sleep. You can feel more anxious as well. And so the best way to see that is through a more in-depth hormone testing. Like I said, I like to use Dutch testing for this, or dry urine testing for comprehensive hormones. And that can show us if you have an elevated cortisol at night. You may also have low cortisol then during the day and have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. So this can really wreak havoc on not only your sleep, but it's kind of like a double whammy because you're staying up at night because you can't sleep because cortisol's high, and then it takes a plunge dive when you should be getting up during the day, and this is when it should be rising. And then you really are dragging, and when you're dragging and you're tired, you're not thinking well because you just feel like you're walking through a fog all day, and hence the term brain fog. So that's one thing that can be going on. Now there's different things that I may recommend or that I've used with my patients in the past, and just know that the information I'm sharing with you is for educational information purposes only, and it's not a replacement for seeking appropriate medical care. But another thing that I sometimes will use, I'll use different products to help calm down that cortisol. Or if your cortisol's low during the day, I might recommend products to help support your adrenal glands. You've likely heard the term adrenal fatigue. This more appropriately is referred to HPA axis dysfunction or hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis dysfunction. And that's the communication between your brain and your adrenals. And years of just daily cumulative stress can take a toll on those adrenal glands. So a lot of times when we're younger and our cortisol levels go up, the fight or flight response, when we have something that scares us or that we, encountered certain stressor, and we will react to that, our cortisols go up and then they come back down into a normal level. What can happen over time and just normal day-to-day stress can just take a toll on that if you're always in that, hyper state of awareness. And so that catches up to us in those perimenopause and menopause years for sure. And we don't realize that that cumulative stress over time is playing a role when those hormones are fluctuating during women's 40s and 50s. And for some women, even in their mid-30s, you can start having some of these symptoms. So that's one thing that can be contributing on a hormone front. The next one is low progesterone. So if your progesterone's low, that can impact your sleep. I consider progesterone nature's Xanax. It has that calming effect, just kind of keeps everything even, helps even out your mood, and it can really help you do well to sleep at night. So sometimes what can happen when you have low progesterone, that can play a role on your cortisol level as well, because all these things are interconnected. The next hormone that can be contributing to brain fog, fatigue, and sleep issues is estrogen. Just the fluctuation in the estrogens that's going on in those perimenopause, menopause years. It can be low or it can be high. That can also be contributing to not only the brain fog and fatigue, but if part of what's disrupting your sleep at night is hot flashes, the imbalance of cortisol or estrogens can contribute to that. Or if you have even estrogen dominance, we always think that hot flashes and night sweats are triggered by low estrogen. Well, it can also be even an estrogen dominance that's occurring that can be contributing to that as well. Then the next one would be what we call your adrenaline markers, like epinephrine and norepinephrine. So if those are high, so those are like that fight or flight response, cortisol goes up, adrenaline goes up. And if those are high, those will also impact your sleep. You can feel more agitated, moody, anxious, depressed even, if there's an imbalance in these adrenaline markers as well. Then, of course, the most obvious one would be, looking at thyroid. That can certainly cause brain fog and fatigue. But when we're talking, about the connection between the brain fog and sleep, I usually see more of this related to imbalances in cortisol, progesterone, estrogen, and the adrenaline markers as well. Now, having said that, it's important that we understand that there's certain lifestyle factors that will also be contributing to poor sleep and brain fog. If you have an inflamed gut, you're going to have an inflamed brain, and that can cause your brain fog and fatigue as well and disrupt your sleep. So if you're, eating close to bedtime, you're having that glass of wine in the evening, these are certainly factors that can affect you. If your diet's more pro-inflammatory foods like processed foods, sugars, that creates inflammation in the gut, and inflammation in the gut, you're apt to have inflammation in the brain, and thus brain fog and fatigue as well. So it's important to eat a well-balanced diet. I always say organic whole foods are very, very important to our nutrition. And then using just some of these lifestyle things to start with, when we're trying to figure out, why do I have so much brain fog, fatigue? Why am I not sleeping? I think it is important to, have your hormones looked at when you're really struggling with those things, but it's also important to not skip over the lifestyle factors. If you remain really stressed out, and this is easier said than done, I know, and you're eating on the fly because, life's crazy, it's really going to be difficult to, get the relief that you're looking for without addressing some of the lifestyle factors as well. And I always say, take some me time, even if it's 10 minutes a day, do some slow, deep breathing, go stand outside barefoot in the grass. They call this grounding, and this really can help the body ground itself, you might say. Making sure you get a little bit of sunshine. That vitamin D is really important to your mental health as well. Then if you're needing something to kind of calm down in the evening, think, there's different relaxing herbs like chamomile tea, valerian, lemon balm, lavender, if you like essential oils, doing a little lavender on the bottoms of your feet even can be beneficial. Now, melatonin is one that a lot of people will ask about. And I would tell you, as far as melatonin goes, that you may or may not need melatonin. And certainly through more comprehensive hormone testing, we can see what melatonin levels are. Sometimes that's, some women will be low in it, but other times that may not be your issue. So if you've tried melatonin and you wake up feeling like you're hungover or have a headache, it's likely not what you needed. There's other things that you may need or could be deficient in that may be impacting your sleep. One of the easiest relaxing things you can do is even a little bit of magnesium at bedtime. I like things like magnesium glycinate or glycinate, magnesium threonate. These are types of magnesium that help with the brain and calming kind of effect. Some women also will have heart palpitations, and magnesium can help kind of with that as well in those perimenopause and menopause years. These are some things that I've seen and have used with some of the women that I've worked with over the years that you can try. And then there's more specific things. If we've done hormone testing to look at, to target some of these specific hormone imbalances, that are specific to you and what you need. So those are just some of the things that, I would say to start with that I'd recommend considering when you're having that brain fog, fatigue, and sleep difficulties. Again, it's important to look at lifestyle, stress, nutrition. Don't exercise right before bed because that's going to increase adrenaline right then. And a glass of wine in the evening, though you may feel it's calming, it can mess with your blood sugars during the night, which messes with your cortisol, which messes with your sleep. Wake up with hot flashes. Eating too many carbs in the evening certainly can be another factor. You can be real sensitive to that as well. So I hope that helps, and I just want to make sure we don't have any questions before we end this Hormone Help Monday. All right, I don't see anything there. And if you do have something that you'd like me to address during one of these Hormone Help Mondays, just let me know and have a great day. Bye.